Perfect. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's start. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So, hello everyone. I'm Gio. So today we're gonna meet the observability squad, which is us here, and we have prepared a quick, like a short deck to go through. We're gonna present what we're working on and what are our responsibilities, and we're going to do it ourselves. And please feel free to ask any question you might have or you might want to discuss with us today. So first thing, meet the squad. This is us, quite a bunch of friendly folks. We're gonna do the wrong introduction later, given we are all presenting some stuff today, so we are not going through that now. And these are our actual, those are the MVPs of our squad. So also Stefan the cat and Kill the dog, which are not with us today, but they are an integral part of our squad in our daily stand-ups and meetings. That said, what do we do? This is our mission. So we make Grafana the best available and most efficient and open observability platform. We build workflows for effective troubleshooting on top of Grafana by making it easy to correlate telemetry signals. And we provide first-class monitoring experience for Grafana cloud storage backends. What does it mean? This means we basically develop and maintain Explore, as well as a bunch of visualization in there, such as the log panel, such as the trace panels and the node graph. We also maintain a bunch of different data sources. I mean, there are a lot. I think you can recognize most of, if not all, the logos in here. Mostly like Loki, Tempo, Prometheus, but also Graphite, Influx, Jaeger, Elastic, Zipkin, and you name it. We try to develop tools to enable you exploring your data as much comfortable as possible. And yeah, that's our main responsibility. We basically work very closely with the backend team and the front-end platform team and we strive to deliver the best results possible that will allow as I said, our users to better visualize or better explore their data. That said, what are we working on lately? Creators migrations. So Piotr and Gabor are not with us today. I'm gonna present for them. It's been a while since Grafana is migrating from Angular to React. Angular actually version 1, so pretty old version. Creators are, I think, one of the biggest part in Grafana, like at least the one that users tend to see a lot during their workflows. And migrating them to React allows us to move faster and actually to be up to date with what Grafana is and what we want Grafana to be tomorrow. So that's something that maybe might not be recognized as much as other things, but it's very important for us to keep up to date with new technologies and to keep Grafana a modern platform. Other things we are working on, data source migration, backend migration, sorry. As of today, so Grafana started back then as a front-end only application, which means everything was running through the front end and query were being run and being built in the front end. At some point, Grafana introduced a backend, which allowed us to have alerting features and a different set of things that could only run on the backend. This meant that we had a duplication of concerns or code, let's say, between the backend and front end. For example, like Elasticsearch, Prometheus, and Loki, they all have these dual implementation of the query builders. So basically how we build the query based on our internal query model. And which historically has led us to have some bugs, and because sometimes you fix a bug or you implement a new feature in the front end and the exact same feature should be implemented in the back end or vice versa. But sometimes you introduce a bug only in the front end or only in the back end, and this, of course, leads us to spend a lot of time trying to fix those bugs, and sometimes they are hard to test and hard to recognize because, because they live in two different places of the code base. So we are currently starting migrating Prometheus and Elasticsearch as the first ones. That means that there will be no more front-end implementation for them. That should be quite transparent to users. And me, Ivana, and Dimitrios from the backend platform team are working on that actively now. And we hope to get something ready pretty soon. We are starting with Prometheus and we'll move forward with other data sources as well. Then I will give the mic to Andre and Connor to present this one, please.
Sure, yeah. So, hey, I'm Andre. So my main responsibility together with Connor is to basically maintain and kind of like build features mainly around like tracing and tracing data sources. So one thing what I worked on recently is the tempo service map. So basically, right now tempo can only retrieve like single traces, but we are building together with the tempo team feature to actually get some aggregated data over all your services. And this means that you will be able to show like the service map for all the services that you have in your system, and show it in the node graph visualization that you can see here on the in the screenshot. And yeah, basically this could give you like an overview of your infrastructure and be a starting point to like explore like where you see problems, and go into like single trace after that, or get some metrics for some specific service that was that has higher error rate, for example. So there's already on main branch behind the feature flag. So probably will be ready for 8.2, I think, hopefully. Yeah, Connor, maybe you can talk about a little bit what you're working on.
Yeah, hey, I'm Connor. I'm also working on our tracing features along with Andre. One of the main features that I'm working right now is Tempo native search. Right now in Tempo, you can look up a trace by trace ID, or you can also configure a related logs data source to be able to look up traces that are related to those logs. But we're adding a feature to add some additional searching functionality. So with the new native search, which is going to be merged soon behind a feature flag, you'll be able to look up traces by service name, span name, min or max duration, limit, as well as tags, where a tag could be kind of any query that you're adding along with it. Like you could look up traces by the IP address, by the HTTP status code, etc. We're excited about this. So it'll give a lot more ability to find traces. You know, if you want to find all the traces that took longer than 1 second that returned as 500s, for example, be able to do that with the new native search that's coming soon behind a feature flag.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Then next, Olaf.
Yeah, so hello, everyone. My name is Olof, and I'm an intern here at the Observability Squad. So I'll do a little bit of work here and there. And one new feature that I've been working on is it's a new feature for Prometheus that you'll be able to use in your dashboard panels. So previously, you were only able to specify the minimum step interval for your queries, but now we've added two additional step modes, as we call them, namely a maximum step mode and an exact step mode. And in the maximum step mode, you can set an upper bound for the interval between your data points. And if you're using the exact mode, the step interval will be exactly the value that you specify it as. And yeah, we think this will be good for cases when, let's say that the default step interval is 15 seconds. And then in this interval, there is some data that is not captured, for example, spikes. Then you can set the maximum step mode to set an upper bound to say, let's say 10 seconds. And hopefully you'll be able to catch those spikes then. And yeah, this is also coming to Explore, I think in 8.2. And yeah, I hope this will be a neat little handy feature for you. And now I'll pass it over to Ivana.
So hello everyone, my name is Ivana, and today I would like to share with you some recent updates and improvements related to logging that our squad has worked on. So on the next slide, I have actually a bunch of improvements that are part of Grafana 8 or 8.1 releases. And if you are using Grafana for visualizing your logs, I would say that trying out the newest version, Grafana 8.1, is perfect option for you because we have added quite a lot of improvements. So you can basically read the things in the slide, but I would like to highlight maybe two of these. First one is logs pagination with caching. So in Grafana 8, we have added this new pagination to Explore, which means that if you are searching for the logs, and let's say you are searching for last hour, but you are hitting the limits, which you can set in, for example, Elasticsearch or Loki, you can use a button to request newer logs or older logs. And if you are basically going through pages, we are caching these results. So if you go to the previous page, these results are cached and you are not running redundant queries. So that's a very nice feature. And the second feature that I would like to highlight is the prettified JSON log. And it's perfect for those of you who have logs in the JSON format. We have added this new toggle where if you toggle it on, your JSONs will be formatted nicely, and they will be like much more readable. So these are the Grafana 8 and 8.1 improvements. And on the next slide, I have added a couple of things that we are currently working on. The biggest thing is log histogram. So we got a lot of feedback that the histogram that we currently have, and that is based on the logs that we receive, doesn't work that well for our users. So we are in the design doc phase where we are trying to find a way how to make log histogram much more usable and great for our users. Other things that we are working on is highlight of InfluxDB logs, Loki resolution for the metrics queries, or improved fuzzy search for label browser in Loki. So that's it from me.
Nice, thank you. And more. So other things we have on our roadmap. So first of all, you can check the roadmap. It's public on GitHub. Feel free to copy that URL. We'll also post that I think on YouTube under the description of the video. So what are we working? Also, what we want to bring to Grafana? We want to have the ability to link from logs to trace for the X-ray data source. We want to create dashboards from Explore. We have this workflow now for which you can go from dashboards to explore your data, but sometimes we had the feedback that people are just exploring their data and they find something useful for their needs, or they build a query that they find very useful, and this will allow users to save these explore state or explore visualization and queries to a new dashboards, or maybe to the library panels that was a recent introduction in Grafana. Then mixed data source in Explore. This has been a very requested feature in the past, and we also want to introduce the trace view for Elasticsearch for traces gathered through Elastic APM. That's also quite a request feature. And yeah, that's mostly it. Thank you very much, and please feel free to ask anything you'd like to ask us, or if you have any ideas. Sorry, one last thing I almost forgot. We also want to introduce continuous profiling to Grafana. This is something we are currently investigating. We are exploring solutions and visualization types. If you're using right now any continuous profiling solution, please let us know either during this call on YouTube in a comment, or feel free to join our public Slack to let us know. We would like to know what solution are you currently using, how are you using continuous profiling, and what on. We would like to hear from you. That's what drives our development, and that will be very much appreciated. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna end the presentation now.
Thank you so much. That was a lot to take in. Obviously, you're working on quite a lot these days. How do you determine like what you're working on? Is it only through GitHub issues, or how do you decide your roadmap basically?
So mostly it's through GitHub issues most of the times. For example, like the histogram improvement for Explore. We did some research when we introduced it, and we thought it would have been a good solution to have it that way. But of course, when we introduce something, the community always has, like they are the people using our software, so they know more how they want to use Grafana than probably us. We take a lot of input from the community, and that for sure drives our roadmap a lot. There are of course other things, and we think that can improve the Explorer experience or data sources experience, and sometimes that doesn't come up from the community. Sometimes it's us doing stuff that that think about new things, and we try to propose it and to start sort of include them in our roadmap to at least get them in a point of which the community can actually provide us feedback, so that we can either continue developing them, or maybe it wasn't a good idea, so we can drop them. But yeah, like we are very community driven, I would like to say.
This is great to hear. I'm personally a little curious about the continuous profiling. I don't know much about it. Could you share a little bit about what it is, and why it's so exciting, and why you're considering adding it?
Sure. I mean, if anyone from the team wants to jump in, please be welcome. So yeah, the thing about continuous profiling is that as of now, Grafana is great to look at traces, to look at logs, and to look at metrics. But sometimes we feel our user wants to dig a bit deeper in what is happening in their software, and introducing also profiling data in Grafana and would allow them to really understand their software in a better way. So that's the main reason we want to introduce this feature in Grafana. Yeah, it's actually I mean, it's been requested also by the community. This is something we didn't come up with fully. So yeah, we think it will be a great addition to Grafana in general, and to the observability space.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a more granular form of like tracing then. So we have distributed traces, but now we're looking to go even deeper, so to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that correct? Okay, cool. So if anyone else has any questions, just jump in. And otherwise, I'm looking as well if there's any questions in the agenda. So if you don't feel like being on air, so to say, just post your question in the agenda. I realize I haven't posted it here, so feel free to post any questions in the document that I just posted as well. So you're you're one of the biggest teams in the Grafana team, or I should say squad. So we have squads in the Grafana team, and I think you're actually the biggest one, aren't you? No?
I'm
Are
not
we?
exactly sure.
Oh, okay.
It's sometimes hard to keep track of all
Yeah.
the new people, right? So
obviously there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we really believe in observability and taking Grafana towards a more, making Grafana more a platform for observability, and that kind of shows in the amount of people working on this. So it's definitely something that we're going to see a lot of things happening, as you have shown as well. So really excited about that. Is there anything on the roadmap that is kind of that you're still evaluating? You mentioned continuous profiling, but is there anything that you're still on the fence? Is there something that the community could weigh in on if they really want to see this, but you're not quite sure whether to pursue that yet? Is there anything interesting on the horizon like that, other than what you've already shown?
Yeah, maybe I can. I think like one interesting thing that we are thinking of implementing, but maybe will not come to actually any feature, but is making Explore like a little bit more configurable in the sense of how you can basically use different plugins to drive like your dashboards, right? You can use basically third-party panels and visualizations. But you cannot basically do that in Explore, right? So we are thinking about creating some sort of API that will allow you to define what kind of visualization do you want to have in Explore, not in the sense that you like tweak it, but basically on the global level, you could say, okay, I have actually like better idea how I want to see logs, for example, and create like third-party visualization for that. So maybe you could just switch it on in Grafana as a whole, and then in Explore, basically every logs response will get visualized in your panel, right? So we are thinking about enabling that. It's still in a phase where it's basically just a rough idea. So yeah, if anybody has any kind of like feedback or how they could like use it, or whether they think it's totally not necessary, then like any feedback on that is definitely welcome.
So that sounds a little like community panel plugins in Explore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That sounds really exciting to me, at least. As a developer of several panel plugins, I would love to use them in Explore. And I imagine there's others who think the same way. Cool. So in case there are no more questions, maybe we can call it for today, unless anyone has any more to add. So this will be available on YouTube as well. And if you couldn't join here, please let your colleagues know, your friends know. We're gonna go through the entire Grafana team, all the squads in the team. So you're gonna get to know people, far and wide, to really get to know the people that are working on Grafana. So we're very excited about that. Next month, we're going to meet the UX team, and they're gonna introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what they're doing, which is also gonna be super exciting. So make sure you join us. Yeah, and thank you, all of you from the Observability Squad. It's been great having you. This was really useful, and I learned a lot learning about the roadmap. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting things coming. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Marcus.
See you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.